Hello there, hello there, hello there to YouTubes and the Twitches. Hello again to the Twitches. Apologies that I was away from Twitch yesterday. We were playing a thing that wouldn't be allowed on Twitch, so I had to take the day off from Twitch. Anyway, I'm back on both. How the devil are we all? I'm very well, thank you for asking. And happy Kraken Day to any right-wing lunatics who happen to be watching. I don't know what the fuck you're doing here, but whatever. You're welcome. Click on the fucking video. It all helps the algorithm. Anyhow. And of course, happy Thanksgiving to all non-crazy Americans. I hope you're having a socially responsible and distanced good time. Zoom meeting chicken or turkey or whatever the fuck, whatever. Maybe you're doing a fucking a vegan one. I don't know. Whatever you're doing, I hope you're having fun with it. My particular bit of Thanksgiving cheer was in the form of this tweet I sent out earlier, which was this is Ben Shapiro on his I believe his Instagram. I could be wrong. Looking a little bit like Jeffrey Dahmer, let's be honest, with the turkey there, you know, and he's going to make masculine. He's going to do home cooking with facts and logic or some shit. I don't know, who cares? And I just put that turkey's going to be as dry as his wife. I'd like to hear an argument against that. Yeah. Anyway, hello there to everyone. How are we all? I hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're doing. Enough flim flam. Let's get on to the big story of the day. No, I'm not talking about this Sidney Powell fucking obvious nonsense in Georgia. I'm talking about this chinchilla getting a belly rub. That is absolutely top work. Lovely stuff. Little smiling chinchilla. What could be better? Eh? What could be better? Nothing is the answer. Nothing. Look at that little face. And look at his little hands. Oh, absolutely legendary stuff. Now, but of course we are here to talk about Sidney Powell's nonsense, and we will. Trust me, we will get on to what is the dumbest thing ever. But one little appetizer, a little entree to the main meal, if you will, of right-wing dipshittery today. Do you remember the Million MAGA March? Sorry, the Million MAGA March from not last weekend. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? I can't even remember. Doesn't really matter though. There was a clip that went viral of a guy obviously physically intimidating and essentially assaulting a woman who was there as a media observer of the event. Well, who wasn't doing anything, but she was labelled as an Antifa journalist or whatever, and he was clearly being a complete fucking arse to her, like to the point of, I think, committing a crime, frankly. And so, you know, he fucked around, and eventually reality made him find the fuck out. And he got fired from his job, lol. And then his wife, who's also a massive piece of shit, posted a video online explaining that situation in what I think is a delicious fashion. And someone spliced the two videos together in this delightful package, which I'll just play for you now.
The video that was made is probably not my husband's best moment.
What's up? How you doing, bitch?
What he did, I'm not going to say is not okay. Shit happens.
Hey, y'all, this is Portland Antifa Press.
Shit happens, you know?
The company that Jeremy worked 6 years for and worked his ass off for bent their knee to terrorists yesterday and fired him.
I'd just like to say, as the CEO of Antifa, we take the word terrorist very seriously. We're not terrorists, okay? We're violence specialists. Please, we want some political correctness going on here, okay? We're the peaceably challenged, please.
Sorry, this is really hard for me.
What's up, bitch? How
Please
you doing?
don't step on my foot.
Hi, bitch. How you doing, bitch? What's up? How you doing, bitch?
Do not touch me.
Maggot ass? I'm not touching
Yes,
you.
you actually are. You definitely are, and I need you to stop,
Don't
okay?
video me.
None of your friends would come.
I'm allowed to video.
Okay,
you're
well,
not
I'm allowed to
touch me.
fucking be standing right.
No, you're allowed to stand in a place. You're not allowed to stand on another part of a person. That's assault.
You absolutely are, but if you touch
Yeah,
me,
what's up,
that's
you
not
stupid
okay.
bitch?
I'm bitter. I'm frustrated. I don't understand.
I can't wait to see you in the fucking lobby again. What's up?
Yeah, that's a very serious crime. That's a veiled threat of violence right there. By lobby, he means the lobby of the hotel. They had found out they were staying in the same hotel as her, and this was in Washington, D.C. And he was essentially saying, I can't wait to see you in the hotel in order to enact violence upon you when we're not in public. Or not at least in the open, in public.
What's going to happen to me in the lobby?
Antifa should not be winning. They will ruin your life.
We are winning though, motherfuckers.
It's being turned into such an ugly thing.
Keep recording, bitch. What are you gonna do?
Please don't touch me.
Oh, please don't touch me.
Yeah, you actually are.
Please don't touch me.
I think the world needs to see the raw emotion.
Yeah, I think the people need to see the raw emotion of your husband physically intimidating a woman. Because he's such a hard case, you see. He, amongst a crowd of his fans, picks on a woman. Yeah. He's a hard nut. He deserves so much respect and love. He's such an upstanding member of of American civilization. A fine example of the white race.
What Antifa causes.
Please stop touching me.
Oh, what are you gonna do? Oh my god! What are you gonna do?
Everybody has to.
What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to upload this fucking video to the internet and you're going to get fired, you dopey prick. And then your wife's going to cry about it and some dickhead in Britain, this one, is going to drink her tears.
Your breaking point. And I meant my breaking point.
Oh my god! What are you gonna do?
Tantrums they throw there and then
Keep going! Keep going! Oh god! I'm an ex-drug addict. A little meth, a little Adderall. So you feel afraid right now?
Yeah, you feel afraid right now. How hard? I mean, look, there's a sliding scale, clearly. But there are some men who have large penises, and there are some men who have small penises. And obviously there's a range in between. That's not really the issue. It's how one feels about the size of their own penis. I have a penis the size of a nipple. I'll happily admit that. That's no problem. But I'm comfortable with it. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. When I imagine a fairly similar nipple-sized penis wearer, if you will, owner, like your man here, clearly needs to try and compensate for that. Needs to try and make up for that in some way. So he tries to bully a woman because he feels like he can physically intimidate her. I'd like to see this chap maybe go over to the black bloc and try this shit with them. I hope he's got a very good dentist or mortician.
Fuck and
They actually...
I don't even want to get out of my car. I just want my mom to just come.
I just want my mom. These are grown adults. Oh, fucking hell. I genuinely, after the election, I thought, well, I mean, they're obviously going to take it badly and we'll have some fun. It's been, what, 3.5 weeks or something now? Fucking hell, people. I didn't think I could enjoy it this much. I didn't think I could enjoy it. I certainly didn't think I could get all this material out of it. Fucking hell. They've made the life of a streamer very easy recently.
Come to my car right now and hug me. Like I just want somebody to come and save me from all this.
Why not ask your brave husband? He's such a brave, honourable man. He can come and save you. Oh, no, he's only good at bullying women. Sorry, my bad.
At this point, I don't care if somebody's like, oh, you're a councilwoman, you shouldn't be doing this shit that you should be doing, that you're doing, because you know what? I'm just kind of done with everything at this point.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you're done with everything. Please, both of you now, fuck off back to the pits you came from. Ah, funny stuff. Anyhow, right. That's your little right-wing bullshit appetizer. Now on to the main course. Let's not fuck around. Sidney Powell. The Kraken. The Kraken. The Karen. The KKK, if you will. No pun intended. Honest. For legal reasons. She's a legal hotshot. I don't want to fall foul of her. She is, I think I'm right in saying, one of the most undeservingly famous human beings that's ever existed. They used to say that fame was the perfume of great deeds. In which case, the word great doesn't mean anything anymore, if that was still to be the case, because she is a fucking moron who should never have been given any prominence, especially by powerful political figures. But, unfortunately, the world that should exist and the world that does exist are two rather different places. So, Sidney Powell, former attorney for General Flynn, whose first name I've totally forgotten, but anyway, who was just pardoned by Trump in what was obviously an abuse of the presidential pardoning powers, not for the first time in Donald Trump's 4-year tenure. But anyway, and she's a lunatic. We covered her with the Rudy Giuliani's face-melting press conference. And when I say face-melting, I don't mean he was giving out such heat and facts and logic that he was melting their faces. I'm saying his face was fucking melting. Like the opening shot of the bit where they open the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Nazi's face melts. Literally, you're a second away from his skin fucking dripping off, right? Anyway, we covered her and she's mental, right? She basically claimed, and we'll go through it in the fucking testimony, that this is, or the court filing, quite something. She basically claimed, sort of, that the ghost of Hugo Chavez was having some sort of incestuous love affair with George Soros in an office they shared in Toronto, and then stealing the election in America, but in Germany. Or something. Now, that sounds mental, and I added 1 or 2 tiny bits to that story, but the fact that you can't necessarily say that all of that story is total nonsense, that you can say the story she told is nonsense, but the fact that she told that story, that's not nonsense. That should be worrying, that this person had the ear of political figures. She's so crazy that she was fired by Donald Trump and Rudolph Giuliani, 2 of the most stupid brainlets in the history of American politics. That's it, right? And they've got this thing called the Kraken, which is the thing I mocked in the opening scene in this bit, right? Release the Kraken. Absolute nonsense, right? And that's the meme. This is her fucking website, right? defendingtherepublic.org, which is ironic considering she's literally in the act of trying to, steal an election and destroy the American Republic. Crazy. Anyway, and the Kraken was supposed to be this huge piece of information or this huge revelation that was going to completely turn the election results on their head and blah, blah, blah. And she released the Kraken today. And the thing is, it's obvious that by Kraken she meant I'm going to smoke some crack. Like that's literally what she must have done in order to think that this was any good. This, I swear to God, right? Now, before we even get into it, right, I'm not a legal expert, but you don't need to be. Because this is so bad, you can see the glaring holes in it a mile off, okay? And this is going nowhere. All the legal experts I've seen talk about this and have actually read it, and I've read all 104 pages of this today. All 104 pages. And it's one of the most mental things ever, and it's going nowhere. There's no new information in this. It's the same bullshit regurgitated story with no evidence and affidavits from obviously partisan sources. Utter nonsense. I give you the filing, which hasn't technically been filed yet. You'll notice that there's no filings on this. The thing that will be filed, maybe in the next couple of days. She claims that's going to happen. I would hope she doesn't do this, because the second-hand embarrassment I feel for this smooth-brained twat is off the charts, okay? It's so embarrassing, it's untrue. But there we go. The thing that she's going potentially to file in the great state of Georgia is the dumbest thing you will ever see. Now, the legal profession is based on specificity, right? You have to know your shit. It's literally word for word what the law is written as, that dictates its interpretation and its implementation and all the rest of it, right? So even just a word out of place or a slightly different punctuation or a different structure to a sentence can completely change the way in which the law is viewed, right? So you need to know that inside out. You need to know the details. You need to cross your T's and dot your I's and make sure you've got your shit down. So it's not a great start when the opening fucking sentence, the title, you misspell a very simple word twice, differently. In the United States district, 2 C's, like it's thick. Like, yeah, the Northern District Court of Columbia, of Georgia, I should say, has got a dumpster truck ass. Yeah. The District Court, Northern Distrcoict of Georgia, Atlanta Division. So we're dealing with the Northern Distrcoict of Georgia. How do you even misspell it like that? Like, district, the first misspelling is funny, because that's obviously just a typo that you type 2 C's. It shows that they're not exactly going for the fine detail here, which again, for a legal document, is probably not a great sign. But at least that's an obvious typo, right? Distrcoict? What? How has that happened? How have you put 2 C's in it with an O and an I in between them? Distrcoict. It blows my fucking mind. And you'll see their case number, there's nothing there because that hasn't been filed yet. But this is the thing they're supposedly going to file. And this was released basically overnight. And it's lunacy. It's fucking lunacy. We'll get to it. Anyway, right. So you've got, those are the plaintiffs, so the people who testify. And then these motherfuckers, the defendants, which is Brad Kemp, who's the governor of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, who's the Secretary of State, and blah, blah, blah. Rebecca, that's supposed to be N. Space Sullivan, but at the moment that's Rebecca N. Sullivan. Or Unsullivan, which might be an African name, I don't know. Matthew Washburn and then Arne Lee. And there's a lot to go through here, people. A lot to go through. The first bit's basically legalese, okay? I'm not even going to bother trying to take you through it because I don't fucking understand it. Doesn't matter though. It's remarkable, right? The basic claim is this, right? The massive voter fraud begins with the election software and hardware from Dominion Voting Systems Corporation, otherwise now known as Dominion, only recently purchased and rushed in to use defendants Governor Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, and the Georgia Board of Elections. Sequoia voting machines were used in 16 states and the District of Columbia. Now, by the way, she's misspelled Distrcoict. I don't know why she's done that. That's very strange. But anyway, I'll correct it for her. The 16 states and the District of Columbia in 2006. Smartmatic, which has a revenue of about $100 million, focuses on Venezuela. You're literally getting a vuvuzela at 0.4. That's pretty early on for a vuvu. And other markets outside the US. After selling Sequoia, Smartmatic's chief executive Anthony Majica, Mr. Majica said, also that sentence makes it, after selling Sequoia, Smartmatic's chief executive Chief Majica, full stop. After selling it what? You have to go on and complete that sentence. Again, when you can't even write proper sentences, a judge is going to laugh at this. A judge is going to throw this the fuck out. This is nothing. I mean, if you had some evidence, it would still be embarrassing. But the fact that you've not got that either, this is going nowhere. Mr. Majica said he hoped Smartmatic would work with Sequoia on projects in the US through Smartmatic wouldn't take any equity. And all of that, right. So, that's the basic claim that these machines were corrupted and all the rest of it. But the thing is, she says that it's the Democrats that did that. But the defendants here are Governor Brian Kemp, a Republican, who was a Trump fan, who was endorsed by Trump, and Secretary of State, Georgia Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, who also was a fan of Trump, was, notably, before Trump threw him under the bus because of this, after the election, and was initially endorsed by Trump in his election to that post. So it's actually the Republicans that did this. To a Republican president who they were fans of and who he had endorsed? Yeah, likely. Absolute nonsense. Yeah, number 5. Smartmatic and Dominion were founded by foreign oligarchs and dictators to ensure computerized ballot stuffing and vote manipulation to whatever level was needed to make certain Vuvuzela dictator Hugo Chavez never lost an election. See attached, blah, blah, blah. Notably, Chavez won every election thereafter. She's moulding about elections that Hugo Chavez, who's been dead for 5 fucking years, won. what the fuck? What the actual fuck is going on there? She's... and not just that, but... I mean, she's obviously got a bee in her bonnet about Hugo Chavez for no fucking reason. He's dead. Move on. But also, he was actually just really popular in Venezuela. He won elections and stuff. I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong or anything like that, or all these, like, I'm a Chavez super stan or anything like that. But he did win elections. He was very, very popular. Yeah. Like, it's a thing. Anyway. But yeah, so she's still moulding over that for no reason. Then we go to number 12. Yeah. Defendants Kemp and Raffensperger rushed through the purchase of Dominion voting machines and software in 2019-2020. So, again, Republicans did this. Republicans did this. So how do you explain that? If Republicans did it, and Democrats actually opposed the move, how is it the Democrats' fault? And why should the result be given to Trump on that basis? Because trust me, that's one of the bits when they call relief. It's not just it's not a hand job they're asking for. When they say relief is what you want from the case, what the end result you want to be, how you want the judge to rule in terms of action to overcome the legal, well, not crime, but misdemeanor that's been committed. And one of them is to literally hand the state of Georgia and its 16 electoral college votes to Trump. Yeah, we'll get to it. Yes. Number 21. Again, I'm not going to take you through. It's 104 pages, so please understand that I'm not going to take you through the entire fucking thing. That would be mental. Right, number 21. As further set forth below, all of the above grounds, they have not satisfied anything, have been satisfied and compelled this court to set aside the 2020 general election results, which fraudulently concluded that Mr. Biden defeated President Trump by 12,670 votes. So they literally want the general election result in Georgia completely scrapped. They want to disenfranchise the entire state of Georgia, is one of the bits of relief they ask for. Yeah. This is again, from defendingtherepublic.com. They want the state of Georgia to basically not count. It's barking, man. This is really wacky. Then 23, we got into the parties involved. So you've got this plaintiff who was a nominee for the Republican Party to be a presidential elector on behalf of the state of Georgia. This one, again, ditto, elector on behalf of the Republican Party. Again, presidential elector for the GOP. GOP a presidential elector. GOP presidential elector. GOP presidential elector. Chairman of the Cobb County Republican Party. And Assistant Secretary of the Georgia Republican Party. So literally all of her people are GOP hacks. That they're party men and party women. Party people, but not in a good way. They're GOP people who are absolute hacks. It doesn't mean they're necessarily wrong, right? I'm not saying that makes them wrong, but it immediately makes me think you're going to need slightly more than just the say-so of some people who are obviously predisposed to a certain outcome. You're going to need some evidence. And the fact that they've got no fucking evidence, as shown by the fact that they've lost virtually every case they've been involved in. Very quickly in some cases, like literally within an hour. Then the defendants are Kemp and all the rest of these mofos. And then we go to point... what was the next one, sorry? Point 51. Now again, where are we? Point 51, sorry, here we go. Right. Now, again, this is sort of legalese in some respects, and they're going through, and a lot of this is... legalese is really hard to pass at times. But what I don't think is a good thing in terms of, again, the detail. The detail in legal documents is so important. Every tiny little detail has to be in place. And he says, setting forth different standards to be followed by the clerk and the registrars in processing ballots in the state of Georgia 8. I didn't realise that Georgia 8 was a place. I didn't realise that numbers were a part of place names now. Georgia 8. Georgia 8. Forgive me, everyone. Is there a state in the Union in America called Georgia 8? Because last time I checked, there definitely wasn't. But apparently, according to Mrs. Legal Genius, apparently there is. 60 to 61. Yeah, here we go. In April 2020, the State Election Board adopted a purportedly emergency basis Secretary of State rule processing ballots prior to Election Day. Under this rule, county election officials are authorised to begin processing absentee ballots up to 3 weeks before the day. Thus, the rule provides in part, beginning at 8 a.m. on the third Monday prior to Election Day, the county election superintendent shall be authorised to open the outer envelope of accepted absentee ballots. Rule blah de blah is in direct and incontrovertible conflict with blah de blah de blah, which prohibits the opening of ballots before until Election Day. But again, notice the phrase emergency basis, because this was already a part of one of the things in one of the court cases in one of the counties in Georgia, where the judge threw it out on the basis that there is a provision in Georgia law where on an emergency basis you can have minor alterations to things like the outer envelope. They can't count the vote before the day, but they can open the outer envelope to make the counting process quicker on the day. Yeah. So that will be thrown out. So even the one point where they look like, oh, actually that seems to contradict the actual law and blah de blah, and it wasn't done by the legislature, it was done by the Secretary of State. But on the emergency basis, they've made a minor alteration. That's not going anywhere. That's going nowhere. And not just that, but in this point, right, note, they're not saying here that these were fraudulent votes. Because the whole thing is, we want legal votes to count and illegal votes not to count. They're not saying these were illegal votes in the sense that this was like fraudulent, that these were dead people. These were all legitimate votes, but they still want them thrown out because of a technicality. They want to disenfranchise legal, honest voters because of a technicality based on a minor rule within Georgia law. Defendingtherepublic.org. Interesting use of the word defending there. 70 to 71. Well, as a result of our observations of the hand recount as a Republican Party monitor, Miss Diedrich declared, there has been no meaningful way to review or audit any activity at the hand count. Okay, that's an interesting description. As a result of their observations of the hand count as Republican Party monitors, Miss Coleman likewise declared there was no way to tell if any counting was accurate or if the activity was proper. Now, if that's the case, how do you know that the fraud claims you have made earlier based on these affidavits is true? Either the observers could see what was going on and saw fraud, or couldn't see what was going on and therefore couldn't see if there was fraud or not. You do have to pick one of those two, okay? Because if I can pick this apart now, an actual trained lawyer working on behalf of the officials in question, on behalf of the officials of the state of Georgia, will rip you to fucking pieces. If she goes into court with this document, into the Northern Distrcoict of Georgia court, she's going to get ripped the fuck to pieces. This is embarrassing. The idea that this is the Kraken, I'm sorry, the Kraken is fucking dead then. You've released it and it's just its corpse has rolled out onto the fucking stage. Where are we? Oh, this one was amazing. Now, of all the voter fraud allegations, this one is the funniest for me. Because it's so obviously not concrete evidence of anything, right? 75. A large number of ballots were identical and likely fraudulent. Let's just take a second to analyse the word likely from a legal perspective. The word likely isn't beyond a reasonable doubt. It isn't even the preponderance of evidence. The word likely is bullshit. Likely fraudulent. Do you think you're dealing with children, Sidney? Do you honestly think that these legal experts are just morons? I know the people you're trying to convince in the right-wing blogosphere are idiots and will fall for this kind of nonsense, but likely fraudulent means nothing. You have to prove it's fraudulent. An affiant, which is a person signing an affidavit, an affiant explains that she observed a batch of utterly pristine ballots. Quote, and this is a quote, even though there aren't quotation marks, but that's fine because it's an affidavit anyway. Most of the ballots have already been handled. They have been written on by people and the edges were worn. They showed obvious use. However, one batch stood out. It was pristine. Pristine. There was a difference in the texture of the paper. There was a difference in the texture of the paper. It was as if they were intended for absentee use, but had not been used for that purposes. Not those purposes, for that purposes. Again, I think we're dealing with some real fucking brainlets here. Don't know about you, but I think they're fucking idiots. There was a difference in the feel of the paper. Now, can I just take you back to 70 and 71? There was no meaningful way to review or audit any activity. There was no way to tell if any counting was accurate or if the activity was proper. And yet, down here at 75, this motherfucker claims that he could feel the paper and see its texture and see whether the edges of the paper were worn, which suggests to me he was rather close to the deal. He could see quite a lot going on there. He was talking shit about it. The fucking feel of the paper was wrong. Oh yeah, we'll just throw out fucking 8.5 million votes. Or more, it's fucking 9-10 million votes, whatever it was in Georgia. We'll just throw out millions and millions of votes on the basis that some fucking GOP prick thinks that the paper wasn't right. The fuck? You dopey bastard. Anyway, so again, it's sort of Schrodinger's observation. They're both close enough to see that the paper was a bit too pristine on the edges, but also too far away to see anything. Crazy. Fucking hell. These different ballots included a slightly depressed pre-fold. I'm slightly depressed, I'll be honest. So they could be easily folded and unfolded for use in the scanning machines. Convenient, I know. There were no markings on the ballots to show where they had come from. Again, but he said had come from. So again, I don't think this person is like super intelligent, if I'm honest. Spelling mistakes are okay, but I mean, again, idiots make lots of spelling mistakes. That's the problem. Distrcoict. These stood out. In my 20 years of experience of handling ballots, I observed that the markings for the candidates on these ballots were unusually uniform. Kill me. Perhaps even with a ballot marking device. Ooh. It's just random conjecture. Perhaps. Likely. Fraudulent. Like, come on. This affidavit is worth nothing. This is worth nothing. The paper feels wrong. Maybe they've got a ballot marking device. Yeah, maybe. And maybe I'm a fucking 7-foot bronzed Adonis with a cock like a Pringles tube. Maybe. By my estimate, in observing these ballots, approximately 98%, not approximately 90% or 95%, no, he's gone with the obviously not round number of 98%. Approximately. Roughly 51%. Constituted votes for Joe Biden. I only observed 2 of these ballots as votes for President Donald J. Trump. Again, there's no evidence for any of this. This is just an idiot saying a thing. Who cares? When you start off with were identical, which again you would need to prove they were identical, not just that they looked similar. Their ballot papers, yeah, they all look pretty fucking similar. Apart from one time my friend said he went into the ballot box and put a penis and testicle drawing in each of the boxes, which I thought was quite funny. He wanted to spoil his ballot, and he spoiled it. He didn't spoil it, he soiled it. Anyway, so when you say likely fraudulent, and some guy random conjecture about perhaps a ballot marking device, what, they couldn't be bothered to just use a fucking pen? They had to have a special device for that. Fucking hell. Anyway, legally, this will get laughed out of court. This is absolute conjecture. This isn't even circumstantial evidence. This is just conjecture. It's nothing. It's not even. It's not even like trustworthy. He said, she said stuff. A judge will absolutely shake their head at this. Number 85. And apologies if anyone's finding this a little bit dry, and I understand that. Look, it's a legal document. I understand it's not necessarily going to be like the most exciting thing, but I think it's indicative of how fucking crazed and deluded the GOP has become. Because even though she was fired by Donald Trump and Rudolph Giuliani, the fact that she was ever a part of it shows how far they've gone. She, for me, that press conference with Rudy Giuliani's melting face and this woman's melting mind, perfectly sums up how bad the Trump campaign has become, had become, how far the GOP has slipped in intellectual standards. The fact that this QAnon motherfucker, and she is QAnon, like, undoubtedly, I'll go onto her Twitter. She literally retweeted a thing today. Oh, she retweeted a couple of things today. Hang on. Sidney Powell is just the gift of idiocy that keeps on giving. Where are we? People, take me down to the paradise. That's not the Sidney Powell we want. That's the... fuck's sake. This one, right? So, where are we? She tweet... for fuck's sake. Right. Oh, this is all within the last fucking couple of hours, because I looked at this earlier. She retweeted... there we go. She retweeted, "Where we go one, we go all," which you may know is the QAnon. That's their thing. When you see WWGOWGA, that's the QAnon thing. That's what that means. So she retweeted that. She's a QAnon lunatic who had the ear of the president's lawyer. Yay. Well, she also retweeted this meme, which I think might be solid gold cancer. I think it might actually be that. She retweeted this in November of 2020. Yeah. I think that's all we need to know about her, really, isn't it? That tells you rather a lot about Ms. Powell. Anyway, so she's a fucking lunatic, and the fact that that press conference where she was welcomed into the inner circle of the legal team for the President of the United States shows the fucking nosedive that even the GOP of the days of the idiot George W. Bush, even from those low heights, they've nosedived into the fucking ground in terms of intellectual honesty and just, well, anything, integrity, whatever. Just madness, absolute madness. Yeah. Anyway, so right, back to the actual thing. So yeah, that's why I'm taking you through this. It might seem a bit dry, but hopefully you understand why I'm taking you through this, because I think it's actually quite totemic in terms of its showing of that decline from a very low point anyway. Because like I say, this is the party that elected George W. Bush 20 fucking years ago. So. Yet another affiant, again, affiant being a person who signs an affidavit, yet another affiant testified about the lack of process and the hostility only towards the Republican Party. This is where they get to whinge like little bitches now. That's what's going to happen. Which is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause. No, it isn't. A person being rude to you is nothing. It's just a person. It's just a dickhead being rude to you. When they say equal, they don't mean literally you have to get absolutely equal. Like, if someone says hello to you in the counting room, they don't also have to say hello to the Republican and to the Independent and to the Green Party. They can just say hello to the person they bump into or whatever. Like, that's not what they mean by equal. It means you have the same rights. It doesn't mean you get exactly the same treatment from every individual poll worker or Polish person. He testified. Testified! I also observed throughout my 3 days in Atlanta, not once did anyone verify these ballots. Citation needed. In fact, there was no authentication process in place, and no envelopes were observed or allowed to be observed. What the fuck were they doing? like huddled round it, like, no, you can't see the ballots. No. Well, you were in the fucking room. What are you talking about? You couldn't fucking see them, you dopey bastards. And if you couldn't see them, how the fuck do you know what happened to them? Again, it's Schrodinger's observation. I saw hostility towards Republican observers, but never towards Democrat observers. Both were identified by badges. They were mean to me. Oh, fuck off. What? Again, you're going into a courtroom with this. Oh no, they'd hurt your feelings. Oh, well, grow the fuck up, you're an adult. It's fine. Move on with your fucking life. Not just that, but if you're one of these GOP mental cases, you're probably being quite sort of rude to them as well, so they're probably going to be less likely to be like, hello, how are you? And more like, oh, fucking hell, it's another QAnon prick. Fucking hell. Why did they have to put me at this table where this fucking nutter is? Like, do you know what I mean? You kind of, in terms of interpersonal interaction, sometimes you get what you give, you know? But anyway, there's a lot more whinging and bitching as we go along. 1890. An affiant testified that while at the audit, quote, while in Henry County, I personally witnessed ballots cast for Donald J. Trump being placed in the pile for Joe Biden. Really? Because the motherfucker a second ago was saying that you couldn't see what was going on. So again, Schrodinger's observations. Where are we? Placed in a pile for Joe Biden. I witnessed it happen at table A. Another affiant testified that, quote, I witnessed 2 poll workers placing already separated paper machine receipt ballots with barcodes in the Trump tray, placing them into the Biden tray. That sentence doesn't make sense. Do you mean they placed them in the Trump tray and then took them out of the Trump tray and placed them in the Biden tray? In which case you should signify that. Because you're saying, and again, this is Schrodinger's ballot placement, they were placed both in the Trump tray and the Biden tray. Maybe there's some sort of halfway house between the Biden and the Trump tray, which is the superposition of this fucking metaphysical set of ballot papers. Anyway. I also witnessed the same 2 poll workers putting the already separated paper receipt ballots, or it is ablots. Paper ablots, okay. So we're talking about paper ablots in the Northern Distrcoict of New Jersey. I'm sorry, like, I don't know, I'm not taking the piss out of people. Maybe some of these people are dyslexic or whatever. Like, I've got dyslexic family members. There's nothing funny about that. But the spell check, it's a fucking thing. Anyway, separated paper receipt ablots in the no vote and Jorgensen tray, Jorgensen being the Libertarian candidate, and remove them and putting them inside the Biden tray. See, that's what you need to say. You need to say it was taken from one to the other, not that they were in both somehow. Then they took them all of the ballots. You've misspelled ablots there. Poor form. I'll correct that for them. Then they took all of the ablots out of the Biden tray and stacked them on the table, writing on the count of the ballot. Again, you've misspelled ablots. Writing on the count of the ablet sheet. Another affiant, a Democrat, a demon rat, testified in his sworn affidavit before he was forced to move back to where he could not see. He had in fact seen, quote, I also saw absentee ballots for Trump inserted into Biden's stack and counted as Biden votes. This occurred a few times. Why, if all of this took place, why did none of them say anything? Why did they not object to this? Because they don't say in the affidavits that they objected to this. So they just saw it happen and went, never mind. Oopsie. Like, they didn't go, whoa. You just put Trump... Because that's what you're there to do. To oversee the thing. And if you see an irregularity, you say, excuse me, that's a Trump vote. That can we make sure that's, you know... And again, if you're supposed, in theory, if you're a GOP observer and you see a Biden vote go into the Trump category, you're supposed to also say, but obviously that's not quite the way it works. Maybe there are some unscrupulous party hack people who wouldn't do that. But in theory, you're supposed to see for irregularities, object if you see something that's wrong, and then hopefully it gets corrected, or at least if not, you've made your protest, you can then make a formal complaint later on. This is made up bullshit after the fact. It's so obviously made up bullshit, it's untrue. It's fucking farcical. And again, I have to take you back. They all saw everything. They all definitely saw blah, blah, blah. I take you back to the one in 85, where they definitely couldn't fucking see what was going on. And if we go back to... Hang on, what numbers were they? 83 and 84, they're literally... It's a repeat. Eyewitness poll workers placing separated barcode, so that's the in two trays at the same time in 83 there, and then in 89 it's the same fucking thing. Paper ballots in the barcodes tray, the two trays there, and the same with 90 and 84. Absentee ballots, that occurred a few times. That occurred a few times, or this occurred a few times. See? It's literally, they're just repeating themselves. They're padding this out. Like, Sydney, you know there's not a word count here. It's not like you have to go up to 10,000 words for a fucking, a report for a fucking college or some shit. Like, you don't have to pad it out by repeating the same fucking bullshit claims time and time again to beef it up, like, make it look like you got something there. It's fucking embarrassing, man. Oh, this is just embarrassing. Again, for defending the Republic, the fact that you would go into court and cite James O'Keefe and Project Veritas as your sources, I wonder if I, a lowly fucking idiot on the internet, can pick apart how disastrously dishonest and full of fucking shit and obvious partisan hacks James O'Keefe and Project Veritas are. I wonder if a highly trained lawyer might be able to pick that apart quite easily in court and have that evidence dismissed on the basis that it's obviously corrupted. 91. A Republican National Committee monitor in Georgia's election recount, Hale Susi, which is a weird name, but, you know, fine, whatever, told an undercover journalist, these are individual ballot counting ballots who have made continuous errors, writes O'Keefe, that's James O'Keefe. Project Veritas Watch, latest Project Veritas video reveals multiple ballots meant for Trump went to Biden in Georgia. And the source for that is Hannity.com. So again, only the best sources for Sydney. Good stuff. 98. Again, this is sort of quite threatening, really, for the defendants, the governor of Georgia and the Secretary of State and various other officials, because it goes through the actual law here about if they don't do the count properly and all the rest of it, and then but they also go for some reason, and the paper ballots embedded in the selection of the barcode are only readable and scannable. Hang on, there we go. Right. That's the one, sorry, right. Any officer or election or custodian who willfully fails to comply with this section shall be fined not more than $1,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. So basically, we're going to try and get you fucking jailed after this if this wins. This, for me, one of the great things that might come out of this is that I hope there's a genuinely huge schism within the Republican Party, because they're going to have to come to terms with the fact after the inauguration in January that Trump lost. And I think it bears repeating here. Donald John Trump lost to Joseph Robinette Biden, and Joseph Robinette Biden will be the President of America after the inauguration on January 20th. Rub my fucking nipples. Anyway, so that's nice, right? But they're going to have to come to terms with that. And so a lot of people are going to say, okay, Trumpism therefore is a losing cause. You know, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, was able to get 80 million fucking votes on the back purely of people hating fucking Trump. Because it's not as if people were like, yay, Joe Biden's the greatest candidate ever. He fucking wasn't, right? He got that many votes, A, because they opened the franchise up via, ballots and early voting and stuff, and also because people fucking despise Donald Trump. He's one of the most unpopular presidents in modern American history. And rightly fucking so, by the way, but, So, the Republicans are going to have to reposition themselves, or at least some of them are, and they're going to be the conservatives, the rhinos, whatever the fucking far right are going to call them. And so you're going to have this schism. You've already seen Donald Trump refusing to go to Georgia to campaign on behalf of the two GOP Senate runoff candidates. Even though they've sucked his dick massively. They've gone against Kemp, the governor of the state they're running to be senator of. They've gone against Raffensperger, ditto, but for Secretary of State of that state. They've done everything they possibly can, which again goes to show a point I repeatedly make on this channel. Don't show Donald Trump and his fucking fascist acolytes loyalty, because you'll never get it back. They will throw you under the bus the second you're not worth anything. Look at the way they've treated Tucker Carlson, Fox News, even Newsmax. Newsmax, right, the new hot thing on the far right, along with One American News Network and all that shit, who have replaced Fox News for these people. They eventually had to come to their senses and say, okay, Joe Biden's won the election. And so the Trump people have thrown them out as well now. They're communist, infiltrated, fucking deep state, George Soros, moon Jew people or whatever. Yeah, don't show them any loyalty, because they won't show it you back at all. Anyway, so hopefully that schism happens, and the Democrats can actually, you know, maybe get some shit done. Would be cool. Anyway, so yeah, threatening Kemp and Raffensperger with jail. Always good. 103.2. Affiant witness, name redacted for security reasons, in his sworn testimony explains he was selected for the National Security Guard detail of the President of Venezuela. Vuvuzelas all over the place in here. And he was witnessed the creation of Smartmatic for the purpose of the election vote manipulation to ensure Vuvuzela dictator Hugo Chavez never lost an election. And he saw it work. She's still moulding. She's still fucking moulding over Hugo Chavez winning elections 10 fucking years ago. And more. The fuck? Anyway. Absolute lunacy. She is... The idea that she's going to go into court with this is just amazing. Now, for those new to the channel, and I've picked up some new people. Hello to the new people. The MAGA cringe compilations have done rather well, so hello to any new people. For those who don't know, I am the CEO of Antifa, the Antifa Super Socials Inc. Limited. Copyright claimed, that is. And as such, as the CEO of Antifa, I have to say I was disappointed to see that our organisation had been infiltrated. Oh yeah, the Trump campaign had a mole on the inside. I'm going to have to get in touch with our security people. George Soros, peace be upon him, will have to be informed of this security breach. I just hope he doesn't execute me. That's all, you know. But that's a joke. I hope he does execute me. Fuck it. Plaintiffs have also learned through several reports that in 2010, Eric Coomer, that's his actual name, yes, let's get the laughs out of the way, that's the name of a human, Eric Coomer, joined Dominion as Vice President, hang on, is this the right one? Yes, that is the right one, sorry. Vice President of US Engineering. According to his bio, Coomer graduated from the University of California, Berkeley, Communist HQ. PhD in nuclear physics, Coomer, blah 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 blah. Dominion altered its website after Colorado resident Joel Altman disclosed that as a reporter he infiltrated Antifa. He infiltrated Antifa, which is a real thing you can do, because it's a proper organisation, honest. It's not like a loose affiliation of people who want to take on authoritarians and fascists and stuff. No. It's an actual organisation with headquarters. I am the chief executive officer, whatever the fuck I am. One of these pricks. Anyway, I'm suited and booted. I'm a pinstriped Antifa fucking go-getter. I'm a headhunter in the literal sense. I hunt heads, wild heads. Anyway, this is farcical. Again, this is farcical, and the next bit of the sentence proves that. He infiltrated Antifa, a domestic terrorist organisation. Citation very much needed, Sidney. Because I know you and Trump think it's a terrorist organisation, but you're taking this into a court of law, and Antifa not in conjunction with the fact that it isn't actually an organisation at all, is not registered as a domestic terrorist organisation. Trump mused about doing that, but he doesn't really have the power to do that anyway, but whatever. And clearly there's no evidence that would suggest that that would be a thing that should be done anyway. So, you're going into a court of law making a factually incorrect, totally incorrect statement. Which again, if I, a lowly internet pleb, can point that out, someone who actually knows what they're doing in a court of law is going to tear this document to shreds. This is nothing. Antifa not only isn't an organisation, it hasn't been designated as a terrorist group either. So it's nothing. It doesn't matter whether you or I or anyone else individually consider it to meet our own individual thresholds of what a terrorist organisation is, which obviously I don't think it's a terrorist organisation because I'm the CEO. So, you know. But it doesn't matter about any of that because you're going into a court of law. So what does the law say? And the law doesn't say that it's a terrorist organisation at all. In fact, the law takes no real approach to Antifa at all. It's not mentioned anywhere. So you're talking shit, Sidney. And rather funnily, the Altman interview with Michelle Malkin, another far right piece of garbage, QAnon, JQ type person. Good stuff. Good stuff. Fucking hell. 122A. There we go. Regarding uncounted mail ballots based on evidence gathered by Matthew Brainard, whoever the fuck that cunt is, in the form of recorded calls and declarations of voters and analysed by plaintiff experts, Williams M. Briggs. Williams? That's not his name. His name's William. That's Williams M. Briggs. Now, I bring that up because it's funny, first and foremost, but also, go down to page 92. She later on refers to the man known as William Briggs as William Higgs. So she's got one of her star witnesses down as Williams Briggs and William Higgs. Maybe there are three people. Maybe there's William Briggs, Williams Briggs, and William Higgs. Maybe it's a Trinitarian. It's another Trinitarian thing. There's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, and there's William Briggs, William Higgs, and Williams Briggs. Let the spirit of Higgs run through you. Anyway. So yeah, that's a lot of old bollocks. And it's, again, this is all statistician stuff, right? Absolute pointlessness. Just it's all a statistician saying this is unlikely isn't proof of anything. Sidney, apologies, but just claiming that it might be a thing is rubbish. That you have to actually prove that a thing took place, not just it's unlikely. Like, yeah, tossing a coin 1,000 times and getting heads is unlikely, but it does happen. If you go long enough, it will happen eventually. Anyway. Cobb County, this is 125, Cobb County, based on lost votes, unlawful request votes, and NCOA, that's a National Change of Address database. So NCOA data on these facts alone would consume more than the entire margin of the statewide difference in the presidential race. These election results must be reversed. Reversed. So they literally want to steal the Georgia election. They haven't proved that any of this is real, but they want the entire election result just to be reversed. Like they're going to do that. Sidney, you're a fucking lunatic. You genuinely, Sidney, you might actually be mad. If you think that's what's going to happen here, you're fucking insane. Honest to God, that is ridiculous. And incredibly, again, defending the Republic. Defending it, apparently, somehow, by wanting to overturn democratic decisions. Dr. Higgs boson, exactly. We found the motherfucker. 130. Russell Ramsland, which again is another person, who the fuck is that, confirms that data breaches in the Dominion software permitted rogue actors to penetrate and manipulate the software during the recent general election. He further confirms that at least 96,600 mail-in ballots were illegally counted, as they were not cast by legal voters. He concludes that because it permitted rogue actors, not that rogue actors did anything, but he's decided 96,600 mail-in ballots, they're illegal. Again, just a little asterisk in the corner of the screen constantly. Citation needed, you know? Absolute fucking lunacy. There's no evidence. That's the thing. If there was any evidence for this, this would be one of the bombshell stories of all time. But no one's covering this because it's nothing. This court case is going nowhere. There's nothing new here. These are just the same affidavits they've been pushing around that everyone's gone, well, this is bollocks. This is total gibberish. This doesn't mean anything. And they've been thrown out of court repeatedly, time after dozens and dozens of court cases. God knows how many tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of US taxpayer money on, because you have to pay the fucking judge to sit there, and they're not cheap, for hundreds and thousands of hours of just nonsense. They're not doing it. This is not going anywhere. Just money wasted, completely wasted. Trump campaign having to spend $3 million to get a partial recount in Wisconsin, which isn't going to do anything. But only where the black people live. Basically, their objection is black people were allowed to vote. Seems to be the entire GOP strategy is, can you just, get rid of the black people votes, and then we'll win. So, that's their entire shtick. They're only asking for a recount in the 2 places in Wisconsin where black people live. Well, outside of Green Bay, but that's just because the Green Bay Packers are there, you know. Talking of which, there's football on today, isn't there? Football! Where are we? 142. They're trying to disenfranchise the entire state. Plaintiffs have no adequate remedy at law and will suffer serious and irreparable harm, which is just the usual thing they say, unless the injunctive relief requested herein is granted. Defendants have acted unless enjoined will under the colour of the state, blah, 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 blah. Accordingly, the results of the President and Congress in the November 3rd, 2020 election must be set aside. The results are infected with constitutional violations. Literally just trying to say to all of the people of Georgia, your votes don't count. Fuck you. These people claim to be defending democracy. Don't know about you, but that doesn't seem like that's defending democracy. Call me crazy. We're getting there, people. We're over halfway there. We're over halfway done. Where are we? I scrolled down and I've totally lost where the fuck I was on my list now. What number are we on? Number 142. So, 148. Moreover, through its provisions involving watchers and representatives, the Georgia Election Code ensures that all candidates and political parties in each county, including the Trump campaign, have meaningful access to observe and monitor the election process, which they did, to ensure that it was properly administered in every district and otherwise free, fair and transparent. In plain terms, the statute clearly prohibits opening absentee ballots prior to election. So basically more whinging. You're saying, we didn't get to observe and monitor, even though we saw that the texture of the paper was slightly different. What the fuck? That's not close enough. What do you want him to literally have his fucking eyeball on the paper? Maybe you would. You get fucking COVID from it. You lunatics seem to enjoy that. So again, they're just whinging. Just fucking whinging. And the court case... This is why this court case is going nowhere, because there's nothing to it. There's no substance. It's all gravy, no meat. 53... yeah, again, literally, a word for word, that's the same thing I read to you earlier. It's a pristine paper, the texture of the paper, blah, blah, blah. It's literally the same fucking quote. Again, they're just repeating themselves. They're just repeating themselves to beef up the case. So it's 104 pages and seems like, ooh. Look, I think they literally, the fact that it's 104 pages and the last 3 pages are like the names of the people, and then I'll go down to it. Like it's just the names of like or the last 2 pages, I should say, is that's the Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and Howard Kleinhelder. Cool name. Anyway, I forgot where the fuck I was now. What page was I on? I don't know. 150 something was it? Yeah. So the last couple of pages are that, and so you end up with over they meet 3 figures, right? They get to the 100 pages mark. I think that's literally what they wanted to do, in order to make it seem, more like it was actually something. And my cat has decided he wants to come into the room because he's a dickhead. But that also means that I'm going to put him on camera. So, come on. Ah, my baby cats. Oh. There he is. Yeah. Say hello to everyone, Rickens. Yeah. Can you hear him purring? Look at his fat belly. Fat belly. Oh. There he is. There he is, the lad, the man, the myth, the legend that is Rory McCats. Anyway, where was I? 158. Instead, defendants refused to credential all of the Trump campaign's blah 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 blah. Consequent, defendants created a system whereby it was physically impossible for the candidates and political parties to view the ballots and verify the illegally cast ballots were not opened and counted. Even though we claimed earlier that we saw that happen. So which one is it, Sidney? Stop contradicting yourself. It's embarrassing. Yep, and right on cue. So that's 158 to make that claim, right? 159. Many affiants testified to switching absentee ballots or mail-in ballots from Trump to Biden, including a Democrat. He testified in his sworn affidavit, blah, blah, blah. So which one is it? Could they not see what was happening? Or could they see that there was switching of ballots? It can't be both. They are mutually contradictory. Literally one point after the other. This is fucking absolute trash. 164. Again, wording is really important in legal documents. So I'll just read this out and I'll point out the nonsense here. Whew. Plaintiffs seek declaratory and injunctive relief. Rory Cats, I'm going to knock you out, mate. He wants fuss in the middle of my fucking live stream. An injunctive relief holding that the election under these circumstances was improperly certified and the governor is enjoined from transmitting Georgia's yes, Rory Cats, hello. Certified presidential election results to the Electoral College. Georgia law forbids certifying a tally that includes any ballots that were not legally cast or that were switched from Trump to Biden through unlawful use of Dominion Democracy Suite software and devices. I don't know about you, but I don't think the Georgia law directly mentions Trump, Biden, or Dominion. I don't think that's true. I think they've worded that so poorly and so embarrassingly that, again, even if the court were to actually take any of this seriously, number 164 would be thrown the fuck out because it's nonsense. Now, it might seem pernickety, but this is a fucking law court. You've got to be word perfect on this shit, and this is embarrassing. If I can pick it apart, God knows what a properly trained lawyer would be able to do as well. 165. Alternatively, plaintiffs seek declaratory and injunctive documents holding that the election under these circumstances was improperly certified and the governor be required to recertify the results, declaring that Donald Trump has won the election and transmitting Georgia's certified presidential election result in favour of President Trump. They literally want them to just say, fuck it, we think there might have been some votes gone one way or the other, just give the election to Trump. What fucking world are they in? What world are these people in? It's not the reality we live in, clearly. These people are fucking insane. And they're just a garbage. They just want to overturn the will of the people of Georgia. Fuck that noise. God almighty, they're trash, aren't they? 181. Where are we? Yeah. So in Georgia, they give some stats. I have no idea if these stats are correct. And then they say the state of Colorado, which was running mail for a number of years, has a signatory rejection rate of 0.52% and 0.66%, and blah blah blah. So they get all these stats. The sources for these are DuckDuckGo.com, Vox.com, and Salon.com. Sidney, those aren't sources of anything. Like, go to this, at least contact those organisations and say, hello there, I'm a representative, or have one of your interns do it, obviously. I'm a representative of Donald J. Trump for President campaign. I read your article in Salon.com stating that the ballot problems in Denver or whatever. What was the source for that? Could you send me a link? Could you send me a document? Blah, blah, blah. And use that as a source, because that could be a source. A Salon.com article, or a Vox, or a DuckDuckGo.com article is nothing. You're going to take that as a set of sources into a courtroom. I can understand why Trump sacked her. I don't know why he initially hired her, but I know why he sacked her. Fucking hell. It's genuinely shit. Yeah, then there's more statistician nonsense again. A statistician claiming something is unlikely doesn't mean anything. And then we get to 201, which is more observer whinging. Defendants have a duty to guard against deprivation of the right to vote through the dilution of validly cast ballots by ballot fraud or election tampering. Rather than heeding these mandates and duties, defendants arbitrarily and capriciously denied the Trump campaign and Republicans meaningful access to monitor the election process by A, mandating the representatives of the pre-canvass and canvassable absentee and mail ballots by either Georgia, barred attorneys or qualified registered electors of the county in which they sought to observe and monitor. And B, by not allowing watchers and observers to visibly see and review all envelopes containing official ballots, blah, 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 blah. Again, were they able to see or were they not able to see? Sidney, you have to choose one. But again, it's just more fucking whinging. It's more whinging. The lack of meaningful access with actual access to see ballots invited further fraud and cast doubt on the validity of the proceedings. So if they cast doubt on it, just give the election to Trump. They're not even asking for either a recount or a re-vote. Just give it to Trump. Fucking hell. 202. Consequently, defendants created a system whereby it was physically impossible for the candidates and parties to view the ballots and verify the illegally cast ballots were not opened and counted. Firstly, you haven't proved that any of these were illegal ballots. But secondly, one of these motherfuckers was so close he could see the texture of the paper. It didn't look right to him. The texture, the feel of the paper. But apparently it was physically impossible for them to view the ballots. You're a fucking idiot. This is nonsense, man. God damn it. 206. Yeah, the relief they're seeking, they're basically taking a strategy of throw as much shit at the wall and maybe some of it'll stick. It won't, but, you know. Relief sought is the elimination of the mail ballots from counting in 2020 election. Alternatively, the presidential electors of the state of Georgia should be disqualified from counting towards the 2020 election. So they want the election null and voided, or they want Trump to receive the electors, or they want no electors whatsoever. Fucking hell. It is so embarrassing. Yeah, then this is the list of it's called relief. The resolutions to the case that they want. Okay. An order directing Kemp and Raffensperger and the state of Georgia to decertify the election results, so disenfranchising the entire state of Georgia. An order enjoining Kemp from transmitting the currently certified election results to the Electoral College, again ditto. An order requiring Kemp to transmit certified election results to that state that President Trump is the winner of the election, so not even just disenfranchising the people of Georgia, directly going against the wishes and the electoral majority within the state of Georgia. Okay. Again, defending the Republic. An order that no votes received or tabulated by before. An immediate order to impound all voting machines and software in Georgia for expert inspection by the plaintiffs, who are random fucking people, just random GOP people, not like software engineers, just random GOP people. 5. An order that no votes received or tabulated by machines that were not certified as required by state and federal and state law be counted. So literally just disenfranchising people on the basis that the vote counting machine might not be good. Not a recount, not an audit and a recount. Just dismiss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of votes because someone put them through the wrong machine. Do you mind not shouting? Did that pick up on the microphone? Did you hear the squeak? Did the squeak come through on the thing? Come on, chitty chats. Hurry up. I know it's got a 15-second delay. Yes, the meow came through. He's shouting at me to get out. He's a dickhead. You are a dickhead, Rory. Go on. He's a dickhead. Anyway. A declaratory judgment declaring that the Georgia Secretary of State violates the Electors and Elections Clause of the US Constitution. Lol. A declaration judgment declaring that Georgia failed system of signatory verifications, the Elections Clause, the abolition of signature verification requirement. By the way, that whole thing, the procedural thing about the Equal Rights Clause, that'll be thrown out for the same reason that it was in Pennsylvania. Because it's nothing to do with state law, that's a federal US constitutional law. So the fact that it was already thrown out in Pennsylvania will mean it will be thrown out in Georgia too. And they know that. Again, this is all performance. Nothing the Trump campaign are currently doing is like meaningful. They're literally just butthurt overdosing on copium. It's embarrassing. A declaration judgment declaring the Georgia failed system. Oh no, we already read that one. A declaration judgment declaring the current certified election results violates the due process clause. Again, it won't. A declaration judgment declaring that mail-in ballots and absentee ballot fraud must be remedied with a full manual recount or statistical valid sampling that properly verifies the signatures of absentee ballots, blah blah blah. So there's already going to be a recount currently underway in Georgia, so again that point's just moot, but whatever. An emergency declaratory judgment that voting machines be seized and impounded immediately for a forensic audit by plaintiffs expect. By plaintiffs expect. I think that means experts, doesn't it? Oh, fuck's sake. So again, not experts, expects. Just by the plaintiffs expects. So the expects are going to go count the ablots via the judgment of the Northern Distrcoict of Georgia. This is legal precision, this, isn't it? A declaratory judgment declaring absentee ballot fraud occurred in violation of constitutional rights, election laws and state laws. That's meaningless, because that's basically already within the other fucking relief. A permanent injunction prohibiting the Governor and Secretary of State from transmitting the currently certified results of the Electoral College based on the overwhelming evidence of election tampering. Overwhelming is doing a lot of lifting in that sentence. Nonsense. And also, again, just trying to disenfranchise the whole state of Georgia. Defending the Republic! 13. Immediate production in 36 hours of security camera recording of all rooms used in the voting process at State Farm Arena in Fulton County, Georgia. Only in Fulton County, where the black people live, because that's Atlanta, basically. They're only suspecting that black people have voted there, so yeah, can we just throw those votes out, please? Please, Mr. Judge Man. Fucking hell. It's almost like they're trying to get rid of the 16th Amendment, which is the one that allowed black people to vote. Albeit, let's be honest, it's always been under fucking question in various parts of America, but they're literally just trying to get rid of black people votes. They're doing it in one of the counts in Michigan, for one of the counties, some of the precincts in Detroit, which is heavily black, or those particular precincts were heavily black population areas. The Republicans were literally sorry, in the county in Detroit, they were literally objecting to every vote that came from those precincts. They were literally just on the basis that they were probably black. So let's just object to them on any grounds, hoping that they might get a few of them thrown out. Yeah. They're literally trying to disenfranchise the black people of America, which doesn't surprise me, but it does disgust me. Plaintiffs further request the court grant such other relief as to is just and proper, including but not limited to the costs of this action and their reasonable attorney fees and expenses pursuant to blah de blah. Yeah, good luck with that. You ain't getting fucking paid, you dopey mare. Jesus Christ. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing, isn't it? There's no fucking way any of that's happening. There's no way any of that's happening. This is going nowhere. And you don't have to take my word for it. Legal experts have gone over this and said basically the same as I've said, but in, more definite terms. So yeah, that was the Kraken. The only Kraken she's been doing is cracking out the crack pipe, I think. Yeah, she's full of shit. God. And it really is. It's the low point of the Trump presidency, the fact that they got her involved. Why are there so many adult people who buy this load of bullshit? Because they want to, I think. It's like a lot of cults. It makes them feel a part of something bigger than them. Trump has given life to some of the worst people in the world. Certainly some of the worst people in America. And they would literally die for him. I've no doubt that a lot of them would. Absolutely.
People don't realise.
They're sick people, a lot of them. Genuinely sick. And some of them are just hateful bigots as well. Like, he allows them to be racist. We've all seen that happen. We've all seen the racist pieces of dog shit throughout the world who have been emboldened by Trump. So there's a lot of that kind of... It's very, very culty. I mean, the ultimate example of that was the people praying outside the... Maricopa County elections counting facility place in Arizona. They're literally on their knees bowing and praying to the room. Like, they're going about pray the gay away. They're literally trying to pray the vote away, I think. It's a kind of culty pseudo-religion thing they've got going on. They believe because they have to believe. Because accepting reality would mean they'd have to completely alter who they are and what they want to be the case. If they just accepted, oh, well, maybe illegal immigrants aren't coming here to rape my wife and kill my dog and steal my daughter and my job and blah, 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 blah and all that shit. Or maybe the trans people aren't going into toilets to rape people. Maybe they're going for a shit or a piss or to wash their hands or whatever. Like, all of this, and not just the culture war stuff as well. The embarrassing thing, and this to broaden out from the question in general, to broaden out the culture war bullshit is all the Republican Party have got now. And it's the same in Britain to a degree as well, but with the added Brexit factor. You see at the moment with this Thanksgiving nonsense, they're trying to cancel Thanksgiving. No, it's called trying to stop people being killed in a pandemic. Maybe that would be a good idea, America. You account for like a fifth of the world's cases, even though you make up 4% of the world's population. Yeah, that's embarrassing. But yet the Republicans are like, did you see the Ted Cruz tweet? He had a picture of like a kind of symbol of a turkey with "come and take it." You fucking mental case. The fuck's wrong with you? Who the fuck's going to try and take your turkey off you? You fucking mad bastard. So in a situation where economically the world is fucked, America's in a horrific state. Economically, people, millions of Americans are on the verge of homelessness on the basis that they can't pay mortgage or rent because they've got nothing coming in. There's been a fucking COVID relief bill sat on Mitch McConnell's desk for fucking 4 months or something now. It's an absolute fucking embarrassment. It's a genuine embarrassment that this has been going on. And yet, throughout all of that actual serious shit, all they can do is culture war stuff. All they can do is the war on Christmas has morphed into the war on Thanksgiving. which is appropriate because I like to think of Thanksgiving as practice Christmas anyway. But that's basically what they're now doing. They've only got culture war stuff because they know they lose the arguments. If they actually have the arguments on the basis of, well, actually, I think Jeff Bezos should own everything in the world, which is their basic strategy. That's what they actually believe. They lose. There's no fact to any of it. It's nonsense. Anyway. So, yeah, that's not going anywhere. There's no new information. It's all the same affidavits. But I thought I'd take you through that because it is fucking incredible. I genuinely, I can't wait to see how hard the judge is either going to laugh or just tell them to get the fuck out. And I can't wait to see how he does it. Or she. It could be a she. They're mostly men though, aren't they? Anyway. I'm going to leave you with the thing we started yesterday's show with. Just because it's funny to me. This will never ever not be funny to me.
Okay, we're in my backyard. And you're probably wondering, why are we here? Well, a year ago, I made a bet with Kevin Logan that if Trump won re-election, he would dump ice water on his head. And if Trump lost, I would dump ice water on mine. Now, yes, the election has not been finalized. However, I'm about 95.5 certain that it's going to go one way.
Come on.
And that probably means we're going to have President-elect Biden, the worst president we're ever going to have. But, a bet's a bet.
Yeah, enjoy your 4
He's
years,
called
bitch.
me out. So, I now take this bucket of ice water
fucking snow on
and
the ground,
dump it
Dave.
upon my head. Okay, Kevin. Our bet is done.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, that's, again, that will never ever stop being funny to me. That's beautiful. That was the first guy who ever made a video response to me on YouTube. And the thing is, he made that bet up. At that point, when he made the bet, I had not claimed that Joe Biden was going to win the election because it was just after Super Tuesday. He looked like he was going to become the nominee. But we were too far out from the election to actually say anything. But he asserted that I'd said that and therefore made the bet and the stake, which was the bucket of ice over the head. And I was like, okay, cool, because in Britain, it ain't that fucking cold. Like, it's nippy, it's November, so it's going to be a bit cold. But it wouldn't be the end of the world. It'd just be a bit cold. You go back inside, have a hot shower, no problem. Whereas that motherfucker was standing outside in Minnesota at the end of November with snow on the ground. I'd be surprised if he hasn't got caught some hypothermia or something. Like, it's just beautiful. Anyway. But, no, a man of his honour, if nothing else. He did pay up, so good stuff. But that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Not as beautiful as when Sidney's nonsense get thrown out of court in both Georgia and I think Michigan isn't the other. Where was it? The other Kraken was Michigan. Yes, yeah. Absolute nonsense. Oh yeah, should we comment on the Dave video anyway? What should we put as a comment? Let's put masturbates feverishly. Comment. Boom. There we go. I think that's appropriate. I think that's an appropriate comment to leave. You know. Anyway. Yeah, but I'll keep you anyway. Enough of that. I'll keep you up to date with what goes on with Sidney's nonsense. Although again, I'm going to make a prediction. It's not going fucking anywhere. But we do have to wait for the judge to at least, bang the wooden gavel. You don't get gavels that much anymore, do you? Anyway. Yeah, so I'll keep you up to date with that. Tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. on the east coast of Americana land, and of course 7 a.m. in the great nation of Fiji, naturally. I'll be on with Dr. Winters to go through things. We've always got Twitter bookmarks and things. Might find a silly video for us to watch. and laugh along with and generally mock. And yeah, we'll do that. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. East Coast of Americana land. My links are all below. Go and subscribe to me on YouTube. Hit the bell button for your notifications. If you're not already, go over and follow me on Twitch. It's free. You can also give me money on Twitch if you want to, via a subscription and all that shit. Again, all the links are below. All the links to my social media, my Facebook and my Twitter. You can hear the cat scratching, so I need to hurry up and finish. Go and follow me and all that shit. And I will see you tomorrow.